Welcome to another episode of Live from the Wish House with me, Chris Spinner. If you're a regular, welcome back. And if it's your first time, I'm so happy you're joining me. My path profoundly changed when my son was diagnosed with autism. My marriage collapsed, and I began to develop what I like to call my own Cris-losophies to navigate and thrive. So I'm here to connect with you, to share and learn, and together we can open our minds to creating the life we love to live. Please subscribe, like, share, and most importantly, comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, feelings, and stories. And this is part 3 of my limited short series on control. But this is the most fun part. This is the creative part. This is the episode where I think you're going to have to listen to it maybe twice to get the knack of what I'm trying to tell you, because it's very freewheeling. It's all about the mindset. There's not real concrete information. So if you're sitting there with a notebook saying, I've been waiting 2 episodes, I totally identify with Chris on the first episode, I hear what she's saying on the second, and now I'm ready to get the notes so that I can kick control to the curb, so that I can learn to work with control, so that I can make my life feel freer through choice. I see you. I see you have your pen and your paper, but you should probably put that down because this is a little more ethereal, if you will. This is the woo-woo part, as we like to say. And I don't want to make you think there's some magic involved. Although I have to say, even though we all struggle, myself included, I oftentimes post to social media that my life feels magical. And it feels magical because I have so many people in my life that I don't know from whence they came. I feel that they've been attracted in through my own mindset. I have things that happen for me, opportunities that come my way that seem to fall in my lap. It's not me bragging or saying, just believe it, it's all going to fall in your lap. But it kind of is me bragging and saying, just believe it, it's all going to fall in your lap. Because what is meant for you is coming. What is for you will not pass you by. But there has to be a release. You have to believe that. You have to know, like you know, like you know. And when you're in those moments of doubt, or when you're thinking, that's a bunch of nonsense, that's like magic, it's like woo-woo, you don't just make a wish on a star and it comes true. You kind of do. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. But it's a mindset. It's faith. You know, we equate faith with religion. I think faith is believing in what's possible without seeing it. Think about it. We believe in Santa Claus for like maybe 10 years of our life. Full disclosure, I wanted to hang on. I knew at 13 there was no Santa, but I was holding on for dear life. I loved the Santa experience. I didn't want to give it up. And in my time, you know, kids felt younger back then. I grew up right in the 60s. So, you know, age 11 at 69, age 12 in 1970. Kids were kids then in a different way. Kids today know things and learn things at a younger age. We were very sheltered, if you will, and had longer years of naivete. And there were kids in my 7th grade class that if they found out I was believing in Santa Claus would have definitely, you know, made fun of that. But I wasn't letting everybody know it. I just wanted to hold on to it till I couldn't hold on to it anymore. But the point being is we believe in that. We believe in Santa, the Easter Bunny. We believe in the Tooth Fairy. Okay. Until when you think back, do you remember the day you knew there was no Tooth Fairy? Because I don't. Somehow there's no more Tooth Fairy. And somehow you know that it was your parents, or somehow you have that quick conversation. But remember back to when you would put your tooth under your pillow, because I remember it. I remember it like it was yesterday. The feeling of that moment that I would fall asleep and something magic was going to happen. And every time it happened, I woke up and there was quarters. We'd have quarters in my pillowcase. You know, I never felt anybody putting their hand in there, and I would wake up and shake the pillowcase. And in those days, 50 cents was like big money. And I thought, wow, you know, I was involved in something more magical than myself. You know, if you're a religious person of any religion, You're believing in, you're having faith, you're believing in an outside source. I'm not disputing that. I'm just using it as an example. You believe in an outside source. You believe in the outside source without seeing it. Many people say they feel it. They just know it. They feel the presence. They know there's someone or something or a power or a spirit or a soul or there's a connection. They know it beyond the shadow of a doubt. I know it beyond the shadow of a doubt. I have my own spirituality, which I jokingly call Christianity. But I have my own connection. I go around saying I feel connected and protected. And there are some days that I can physically feel that connection to something bigger than myself. I can't tell you what it is. I'm not a theologian. If I was having a theological podcast, is that a word? If I was having a theological podcast, I would embellish on that and tell you what my theories are. But when you think about it, we have faith in things every day. Now, here's an example that's kind of silly, but how many of you are out there buying those scratch tickets? And why are you buying those scratch tickets? Because you feel like this might be your lucky day, right? You got to be in it to win it, they say. You go there, you put your $5, you get your scratch ticket. Before you take that penny or that nickel and you scratch that thing, you have a belief system that you're going to win the million, or at least the win for life, or maybe the 10,000, whatever it is, you know that you're going to win that. Okay. And sometimes you do. Some people win it. And most times you don't, but you do. And I don't want to discourage you from not having the faith in something, not encouraging you to buy scratch tickets, just giving you such a simple explanation that we believe in the impossible every single day. So that can be applied to our life, to our mindset every single day. Yeah, there's a little bit of a wish component to it. There's a little bit of a woo-woo component to it. There's a little bit of a magical component to it, an out-of-body component to it. But if you can get yourself to believe that there's something separate from yourself that is going to not bring you like a Santa Claus, that is going to work with you, that's going to partner with you and your choices and your action work, that the things that you need, number one, will always arrive. And the things that you want may take a little longer. Your mindset and how you believe that, it has to be a sincere belief. I don't know how to explain this, but there are times that things come to me that I have wanted. And I'm not talking about I want a new car or, I mean, there's things in my life, experiences that I need, a home, something that I've perhaps had a good mindset that was coming my way. Seemingly feel like they fall in my lap. And it had been decades of thinking about it, or maybe one time that I thought about it and it shows up, but it shows up because if you know when that frequency is aligned. And that's how I can explain it. There are times in my life when I can literally feel that my frequency is aligned, and I know that opportunity or that object or that thing of goodwill is coming to me. You know, it's not a yearning thing. It's not, you don't want to sit there and wish and scrunch up your face and feel sad and just wish. No, that's a blocking. I often use this example. There's a scene in the movie, The Secret, where they're telling you how not to do this. And how not to do it is to go to the car lot that you like a car in, whatever your car is that you like, a Corvette, I guess that was our big car. And that you go to the car dealership and you look in the window at night and you just go, I wish I had it. I want it. That's like putting up a wall. You know, the little statement is that the universe connects to your emotion in that, okay? The better way to approach that is to walk past that car dealership and say, there's my car. Or the car that I need, the car that I want, it's gonna come to me. It's going to appear. Believe that. Your friends are going to say, yeah, cars don't appear. And you're going to say, yes, they do. And it might not appear in 2026. It might appear in 2036. You might have forgotten all about that one thing that you've placed into the universe, that you put on your vision board, and all of a sudden it's there. And the odd thing is, in the outside world, there isn't that time space. And so when you receive what's good for you, what's for your higher good, once you receive that, it'll feel like no time has passed. Even if it's been 40 years, you'll be in the present with the opportunity, with the job, with the with the home, with whatever it is, okay, with the best opportunity for your child. And all of those things have happened for me. In the last episode, I mentioned the apartment, 17 days that the apartment appeared. Now you're thinking, okay, do apartments really appear? Yeah, they do. Because I believed that I was going to get the perfect home for me at the time I needed it. And all of the things that I thought about I'd like kind of appeared with that as well. And then I was in it and I was enjoying it and I was in the present time. And it didn't feel like a long time that I had waited to have a simple washer dryer in this little closet space in my house. It didn't seem like a long time. And I'm using objects because when we use objects, it's easier for us to connect to the example. But this happens for opportunity. It happens for emotion. It happens for accepting the fact that maybe you've always wanted to find a partner, but that partner isn't coming your way. But there's a way to work through that as well. The way to work through all of this is to believe. There's a very famous three-word sentence, which really isn't a sentence. Ask, believe, receive. We find it everywhere. Find it in scriptures, find it in pop culture, find it in new age ways of thought. And it's so simple. It's kind of like, I remember in the movie The Secret, they used a genie to with a lamp to illustrate that. You ask and the genie rubs the lamp. You believe that when that smoke comes out of there. It's an old show when I was young called I Dream of Jeannie. Same kind of thing. She'd come out of the thing. That you would ask, you would believe, and you would receive. All of the things that are for your higher good. Now, there's the caveat. Because we don't just receive things all of the time because we want them and we think they're really cool. It's always for your higher good. What does that mean? It means that if you adopt this belief system, if you adopt this little program, then you have to believe that when things don't turn out the way you want to control them, the way you want to order them, the way you think it should happen, that inevitably what is coming your way, what has been delivered to you, is somehow for your higher good in years to come on the planet and when you cross over. And knowing that it's all going to work out for you anyway, even if there's disappointment, because there's going to be disappointment. As human beings, we have to have it all. We have to have sickness. We have to have health. We have to have joy. We have to have sadness. We have to always have the balance. We have to have life. We have to have death. It's to every, what is that? To every time there was this, what is that? To everything, turn. There is a season. That's exactly right. There's always a polar opposite. And sometimes we go through the entirety of life not getting the experience, the opportunity, the thing that we want, that we so desire. You have to believe that there's another piece of this that we don't see. Maybe another piece of this that we don't see that's coming after we leave the planet. And if you believe that, and just put that in your mind, then I'm going to say that 90% of the time, you're going to be able to navigate through anything. I find myself now, there are nights, I have panic attacks, not often, but I'll wake up in the middle of the night because I have too many things going on at the same time, and I really want this thing to work out, and I wake up and I can't get back to sleep, and I'm up and I'm eating Pop-Tarts. My son likes Pop-Tarts. I keep them in the house, like, not the most nutritional thing, and it's 2:30 in the morning, and I'm toasting Pop-Tarts, and for what reason, I don't know. It's stress eating, and I have those nights, but they're not often. And they're not often because for the most part, I do believe, and I've been working this kind of program for over 20 years, I do believe that what is for me is going to come to me. So I want to use this again, easy peasy example. I want a job. I think it's going to be the best job ever. I think I'm really qualified. I go and apply, and I have the interview, and the interview went great. And I really think that this is for me. And I'm up all night worrying about it and wishing for it and all of the things. And I don't get it. And it's a huge disappointment. Those kind of huge disappointments don't feel huge to me anymore. I reserve a little time to kind of mourn out the disappointment. You can't, bury it and say I'm not disappointed. But it's a quick thing for me. The disappointment is quick because I know the next job is going to be so much better. It may even take me to a new place. I was living in another town in New York, another section of New York, and because of my son and his autism, we moved to a community where he would have more opportunity. And I knew no one. I knew no one. And people would say, you had such a good plan. They look at my life now and say, you have so many friends and you're performing and you're doing all of the things and you had such a great plan. And I laugh. I had no plan, zero plan. I just knew my plan was I wanted my son to have a great life and we needed to move to a place where that was going to happen. And I had to uproot myself and didn't know the streets, back roads. On my way to the studio today, I was laughing because there was a little bit of traffic and I took a back road. And I actually thought to myself, so amazing that you live here and you know all these back roads. I didn't know one thing. I didn't know where the supermarket was. I didn't have one friend. I remember I would come home and I would pour myself a glass of wine and I wasn't feeling sorry for myself. I'm just being high drama. I would just look and say, there's nobody here to share this with me. I have no friends. My friends don't live here. And here we are. Fast forward. I don't feel like I've ever lived anywhere else. I know the area like the back of my hand. I have tons of friends and lots of connections and people that support me and people that I support. And it all came. It all happened. And it all happened because I packed up the car and I decided this is what I need to do is to move into the unknown. And I didn't know how I was going to afford it. And I didn't know what that was even going to look like. And I just took the opportunity to say, well, this has been brought my way and kind of exciting in a way. Let's see what that brings me. I saw a meme a few years ago and it said, these things people post online. It said, I just want to sell all my things and leave all my friends and move to a little cottage by a lake in the country. And I looked at that and I thought, oh, that's so, I would love to do that. And then like 15 seconds later, I realized, yeah, I did that exact thing. I did that exact thing. I didn't even recognize it in the writing of this meme with the little house by the lake. I didn't even recognize it. I did that. I did that thing. And so sometimes those things will come to you when there's a famous quote about throwing off the sails and sailing out. And I think that is so what we need sometimes, to just trust what's out there, to ask, to believe, to receive, and to know that we have no control. We only have choice and we only have mindset. And now on this end of it, I will tell you, I am exponentially much more peaceful. I don't feel as overwhelmed. It's hard. It's hard because I have so many friends that are still clinging on. They want things to go a certain way and they're frightened to find the new way. In my opening monologue, I always say, together, we're going to open our minds to find a way to live the life we love. It's a mind-opening thing. We can't sit around and say, I wish I had that. I wish I lived there. I wish I tried that. I wish I talked to him. You can do all of those things. It's fear. Control breeds fear too. We're afraid to do the thing. Better to stay in that small space. Better to say things like, oh, ask, believe, receive. That doesn't happen. You have to do X, Y, Z. And most oftentimes we're doing X, Y, Z and the outcome isn't even what we want. We're like holding on for dear life, filled with control, lots of fear, realizing that all the best stuff is on the other side of that. All the best stuff is on the other side of the fear. All the best stuff is on the other side of control. All the stuff that's meant for us. All the joys that we don't think we are going to find, it's all on the other side of that. Not all at once, sometimes instantaneously. I have things in my life, in another couple of weeks, I'm going to do a podcast on something that's happening to me recently. I have things in my life that happen mighty quick. 1 minute, I'm thinking about it, and 5 days later, it's a thing. And there's other things in my life that have taken 40 years to manifest, to come to reality. And then there's other things in my life that I know will never be what I had originally thought they were going to be. It's hard, especially if you're talking about something that's not negotiable or easy to navigate, like a sickness. A friend is sick, a family member is sick, or yourself, by the grace of God, as my mother would say. It's become my 3-episode podcast phrase. And that's hard. It's hard to come to grips with sickness. It was hard for me to watch my mom become profoundly sicker. Very sad, very, very sad to watch. But my friends and my cousins who are very close to the situation would say, you're handling this so well. At that point, I'd lost my brother already and my father. So this was going to be, it. Mom was going to cross over and I was going to be here all alone. And it was very sad and melancholy, and it gives you a great sense of legacy and cherishing your family even more. And I remember, though, saying to people, I'm handling it well because it is the inevitable. And she's lived a beautiful, long life. So what more can we ask for? I can just deal with my personal sadness surrounding it. But that was an easy one to accept because she was 95 and had had her mind till the end. Much, much different when you're watching somebody suffering from a mind-altering illness, and you can't find the connection there. You can't find the good there. You can't find the reason there. But how to help even in that situation is to realize that the answers to those questions may not be for you right now. You may not find the reason. It's just what's happening. It's the twister. It's coming into you. You can't predict. You have to choose to let go of the control of that and find the beauty in that. And you're thinking, how do you find beauty in something that's so terrible? I haven't had to really, I'm thinking, yeah, I guess I have had some instances that were terrible and I had to find beauty in them. Yes, as I'm recalling and just not wanting to share them in this particular podcast. There were some pretty, scary and tragic things that happened, but there is beauty in that. There's beauty in just the knowledge that everything is working out the way it's supposed to. Don't let that phrase scare you. Embrace that. Everything's happening exactly the way it's supposed to. And if you can have that, the amount of peace and the amount of overwhelmedness you won't feel being replaced by a sense of awesomeness. Sometimes I literally look up. We were taught to look up, so that's where I look. And I just say, oh my God, thank you. Thank you. I don't even know who I'm thanking. I'm just thanking the wide blue sky with the clouds in it and the beautiful weather and the moment of realizing that here I am with all of the things that have happened for me. Some of them not great, some of them harder to navigate, and some of them incredibly magical and special. And knowing that each one of those columns I approach with the same mindset. It's the mindset of ask, believe, receive. Know that it's coming. What's coming to you is what's for you. And it's the mindset of knowing it's all going to work out for your higher good. And higher good sometimes doesn't mean something we like. There's a song when I was a kid. There's a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. That's what control kicking is like. Have the spoonful of sugar and push that aside. Helps that medicine, helps that taste. When we were kids, when you went to the doctor, you had spoonfuls of these medicines you had to take if you were sick, and they all were gross. And that was the trick, to kind of mask it with something. We do that now. We mix stuff in the applesauce when we have little kids and they have to take something that they don't particularly like the taste of. But use those open-minded, magical moments of, I know, like I know, that what's for me is coming, that it's always going to work out for my higher good. There's your sugar. And that's going to help the control and the fear medicine go down. I'm to a point where it's pretty much dissipated. I'm going to give myself a 90% success rate in no stress around those things, believing that the best is going to happen, and 10% of putting 2 Pop-Tarts in the toaster at 2:30 in the morning. So think about that for your life. What does that look like for you? And then I'll recommend blueberry with frosting back in my cabinet at the Wish House. See you next time.